Hi, this video is for pastors, board members, and nonprofit leaders wondering, how do I really grow my giving? And does paying for a consultant really work? And I get it, you've probably done everything yourself. But here's the thing, paying for a consultant is one strategy most churches overlook. But it can be the turning point that pays for itself over and over again because they have the expertise most of you don't have. Now I call this my Hire Ready ROI framework, and it has 3 steps. Now the first thing you want to do is you want to clarify the consultant's role. What are they going to be doing? 2, you also want to check to see if you're ready to hire. That's important. And 3, you really want to make sure you run the ROI so you don't waste a dime. And if you stick to the end, I will send you a checklist that will help you vet any consultants you're considering. Now keep in mind, this is video 4, so you need to check out video 3, episode 3, and that's on my $1 million seed framework. So check that out before you watch this video. Now let's jump in. Oh, I almost forgot. A portion of this video is sponsored by Nonprofit Fundraising Management, or NFM. Now this brings us to section 1, clarifying the consultant's role. Now you'll see that this is step 1 of our Hire Ready ROI framework. And the first step is, again, clarifying the consultant's role. Now here's where most Black nonprofits and churches get wrong. Consultants aren't your ground troops. They don't do all the work. They don't go in and take all the fundraising responsibility from you. Nor are they your consultants from 30,000 feet in the sky, simply barking orders and telling you what to do. The really good ones are somewhere in between. They give you advice, they give you the strategies, but they do some of the work, so they relieve some of the resources for you, so you're able to focus on only the things that you need to do. And that is asking people for individual gifts, taking people to lunch, starting tours or working on tours with some individual potential donors. Those are the things that only you can do. So when you're thinking about working with a consultant, you need to really figure out what is going to be their role. They should be your strategist. They should also be building systems for you. They should also be doing some of the work that you don't have the resources to do. Those things are important, like writing newsletters. They should be able to help you with that. Annual reports, they should be able to help you with that. Putting on a gala, being able to orchestrate that. There are certain things that they can do because they bring additional resources to the table that you don't have. But there's only some things that only you can do. For example, one of our clients in DC hired us about 2 years ago. And when they did that, there were about $40,000 in the black, and they brought us in. And we initially started off with an assessment. We had to look at where their gaps were. And then we put together a plan. We defined what our role was. We said, this is what we're going to do. This is what you are going to do. And just to quickly put it in a nutshell, we focused on creating their case for support. We focused on putting together their annual report. We focused on putting out their monthly mailer and their fundraising newsletter. We also looked at putting together their acknowledgement letters to let donors know that we appreciate their gifts individually. We also put together talking points for when we had the lead pastor or the associate pastor go out and ask individuals for gifts. We also practiced with them. And so there's so many things that consultants do that have a lot of roles that need to be focused. So you have to define who does what, when, and how. And the results of working with us, when they first came to us, there were about $40,000 in the red. And by the time we finished, we were over $100,000 increase in annual gifts and another $100,000 increase in foundations and several other 50,000 here, 50,000 there in different sorts of revenue streams that we brought in. So you have to define what the consultant's roles are and allow them to dig in, give them the resources that they need, and they'll also bring some resources to the table. Now, this brings us to our first quick quiz. And remember, these are not to be tested in such a way. These are more of a memory device to help you remember. So enjoy these and have fun with them. Here's our first one, and it is multiple choice. Which of these is a consultant not supposed to do for you? 1, build your plan. 2, coach your people. 3, run your entire campaign alone while you do nothing. Put your answers in the comments below. But I'll just give it to you right now. The answer is obviously C. As I mentioned before, the consultant runs a lot of things, but they don't do everything. You have to be a part of it. So you need to define what your role is and what their role is and follow those fairly closely. The big question is how do you know if you're ready to use this strategy, right? That's the question. But stick around. That's what the next section is all about. We're going to talk about if you're ready. Now, this brings us to section 2. Are you ready to hire a consultant here? This is the second step of our Hire Ready ROI framework. Are you ready to hire? And that's what we'll go into. Hiring a consultant is only worth it if you're ready to roll up your sleeves and get in the muck along with them. It's not that they're going to do all the work, nor are they going to do all the coaching. It is a partnership. It's a collaboration. You also need trusted individuals around the table, and leadership needs to buy in. You can't do this as a leader alone. You need your board to be supporting this as well. Because if you're expecting the consultant to do everything and you sort of sit on the side, that's just not going to work. Also, if you are expecting to do everything that the consultant tells you to do, with the consultant not being involved, that's not going to work either. There's a happy medium in between. But it's very, very important that your team, your volunteers, take the consultant's words seriously. They've done this. And I know many of us are used to being in charge and sort of knowing everything and being able to give everybody direction because we've been doing this for a long time. Well, consulting and fundraising, you haven't been doing this for a long time, at least from a professional, modern fundraising point of view. So in this situation, if you are going to be working with a consultant, you're going to have to trust them. You're going to have to do some things that you're not used to doing that's going to make you feel a little bit uncomfortable. But the consultant has been doing this. And so if you hire the right one, they understand your culture, you will be fine, but you have to give them a little bit of trust. Give them a little bit of room. Let them try some things that you're not used to. A few years ago, a church in LA reached out to us because they wanted to work with us. And so we came in, we did a quick little assessment. We came up with a plan. We showed them exactly the direction we thought that they should go. But they couldn't get board buy-in, so they didn't hire us. So about 2 years passed, they ended up calling us back again, and they wanted us to come in. And we came in, and we did another session because, it was 2 years later, and they were in a significantly different and troublesome situation than they were 2 years ago, because they were in the red back then, and they were continually being in the red, but now they were much more in the red. And we're working with them now. But the challenge is we're not actually sure if we're going to be able to pull them out because it's probably too late. But there is a possibility that we will be able to pull them out. But we let them know this all up front. So my point here is when you're ready, you think you're ready, and you try to work with a consultant, make sure you get board buy-in. make sure everyone is ready to work with a consultant and to try new things, because this is the opportunity for you to turn the corner and do something different and increase your giving. But if you're not ready, if you don't get board buy-in, if you don't get leadership buy-in, and no individuals on the team is taking the consultant serious enough to get back to them within 24 hours, answer their calls, answer surveys and things like that, then you are going to struggle. So you need to be ready to hire an individual by bringing in, by doing the things that I'm telling you, and that is getting board buy-in. That is making sure your staff and volunteers are taking the consultant serious. And 3, getting back to the consultant. And 4, trying new things and giving the consultant the trust and the resources he needs or she needs to get you to the point of success. Now, this brings us to our second quick quiz, and it is a true and false. True or false? A consultant can magically fix your fundraising problems even if your board isn't bought in. Leave your answers in the comments below. But as you know, I'm going to give you the answer right now. The answer is obviously false. There has to be a collaboration, a buy-in, a mutual trust between yourselves and the consultant for you to be ultimately successful. Now, what if you're ready? You have all the things in place. You have board buy-in. You have staff buy-in. You're ready to listen to the consultant. What if you're ready? What now? What now? Well, you have to make sure that there's going to be a significant ROI with the consultant. So in other words, you have to make sure the consultant is going to be worth you spending money on them to increase your giving. Now, this takes us to section 3, measuring the ROI or return on investment. So if you look over here, this is, as I said before, this is step 3 in my Hire Ready ROI framework. So step 3 is measuring ROI. Is the fundraiser worth his weight in gold, or is it worth his weight in salt? Now, this last piece is about knowing what the return should be. Like, how much should you be spending for a consultant, and what should you expect in return? Now, in general, when things are functioning properly, it should be about 25 cents on the dollar. What that means is, that means for every 25 cents you spend on fundraising, you should be getting $1 back, right? That's a great return on investment. But usually for nonprofits that are not functioning properly, it takes about 18 months to a full 2 years to get there. So you have to understand there has to be a little timing involved as well. But the best part about it is you're not going to be constantly at a given level. So for example, if your goal is to raise $1 million or $1.5 million, and you hit that goal, if you're doing this properly and your consultant is pushing you properly, next year should be probably, 1.7 million or 1.8 or 1.6. So you should be constantly increasing what the goal is. And so you're continually to grow, and that allows you to put more needed community programs out there. So you don't just hire a consultant, get to a certain level and sort of stick there. You should be constantly growing and bringing in more money every year. Now, to give you a real life or a personal example, what we do, we typically charge somewhere between $4,000 and $7,000 per month. And so if we look at one of my clients, they were paying us $5,000 per month. So that's about, $4,000 per month. And that brings in about, $50,000 a year is what that costs them. But at the end of the year, we brought in an additional $200,000 for that particular client. So you look at the ROI. If it costs you $50,000 to get $200,000, is it worth it? Yeah, every day of the week, it's worth it. And so that's the ROI that you should be looking at. Another one of my clients, I think they were paying us the same amount. We ended up bringing in about $350,000. That's a 600% ROI. They're paying us $50,000. We're bringing in $350,000. So that's really what you're looking for. And ask the consultant, what do you think, if after they do their assessment, they should be able to tell you what they think they should be able to bring in. And that's how you know if you should be working with them. If you're going to be spending this amount of money on them, they should be bringing in this amount of money for the returns along with your support. Now, this brings us to our sponsor. That's Nonprofit Fundraising Management, where we use modern fundraising to help Black churches and nonprofits thrive. And we are a consulting firm, but also a resource firm. We don't just tell you what to do. We also bring the resources that you need. So we help you with your database. We help you with assessing what your gaps are. We help you with your communications. We also help you with your special events. Whether if you're looking at trying to raise $500,000 to well over $1 million, $2 million, or $3 million, we have over 30 years of fundraising experience in this sector. So we understand your culture, we understand your challenges, and we understand exactly what you're dealing with. So if you're looking for a consultant or considering looking for a consultant, make sure you reach us at wearenfm.com. That's WEARENFM.com. We look forward to speaking with you if you have any questions. So does trying any of these strategies that we went over, the Hire Ready ROI framework, does that make any sense to you? Does it seem like it's something you might try? I'd love to hear from you. So leave your answers or thoughts in the comments below. And as I promised you, if you would like the checklist on how to vet a consultant, just send us an email at info@wearenfm.com and I'll send this to you. It will help you decide if this consultant is good for you, will work with your organization properly, and also it'll help you with the ROI, how you can ask them, how much you're going to bring in. It'll help you with all those things. So if you're interested in that checklist, make sure you reach out to us again at wearenfm.com. That's info@wearenfm.com. And as always, thanks for watching our video. And if you found this helpful, please like and subscribe and ring the bell. And most importantly, and I'm sure you're used to hearing this, please share this video with those that you know, your colleagues in the industry that this might help. As our goal is to get this information out there so we can all thrive and our communities can all grow. So make sure you share this information with some of your colleagues. And don't miss episode 5, which will be coming out next Tuesday. And don't forget 1 through 3, which you can look at that have already come out here below. So look at the first 3 videos, check this video out, and look out for episode 5 next Tuesday. And remember to lead with purpose, walk in miracle territory, and push for change. I'll see you next Tuesday.